Hey guys, it's Christina of CraftyPaws. I wanted to come on and do a process video sharing with you guys how I made this galaxy style background for this robot card. It's actually like a kind of thinking of you card that I have made for Lauraluvslace's Brielles card challenge. Now, Brielle is someone that Laura does not even know personally. She's actually a fellow church member of one of Laura's subscribers, Karen Brake. And Brielle, who's a teenager, is having bone marrow transplant surgery. And Karen and Laura thought it would be nice if we could share some of our crafty love and show Brielle that even strangers are thinking of her and hoping she goes through this process really well and that the bone marrow transplant surgery is successful. And I also wanted to try this galaxy style background that I've been seeing so many people do on YouTube. This is actually my second attempt. The first one was a bit of a fail. So I'm attaching here the process video so you guys can hopefully learn from my mistakes and I can share some little tips and tricks with you guys. So I'm starting with watercolor paper for my card front. I use that because I really like the tooth of it, the texture of it. It really picks up the ink very well. And I'm using 4 different Tim Holtz Distress inks: mustard seed, picked raspberry, peacock feathers, and then black soot for the general background area. What I will say is that I wish I hadn't done kind of circular color patches and that I had made the patches kind of more irregular. It's generally turns out okay because the black kind of covers the edges of all of these colorful areas, but I wish that I had made them kind of bigger, more expansive, colorful areas. The other thing that I wanted to share is that the harder you press sometimes with blending tools and distressed inks, you actually are rubbing away potentially the ink at the same time you're putting it down. So a lighter touch actually will give you better coverage, I think. So you see me kind of pouncing around there a little bit rather than, blending in a circular motion. And I found that that actually adds the ink in a more rich, deeper tone. I also think that for the black areas, if you have VersaFine ink or some other ink besides Distress ink, which is a little bit more translucent, you get a kind of a deeper space look. Now I'm taking an old toothbrush. This is one that I use to clean my stamps actually, to get into the crevices. And I have just plain acrylic paint in white. And I'm spritzing it, you can see there, just using my thumb against the bristles of the brush. And it gives really tiny, tiny little specks, which is great for a realistic, spacey look. But I will warn you that the first card that I did, I put too much of that little tiny speckling and it just kind of turned into a fog. So know when to stop. Now in this tiny little cup, I've added some water and just thinned out the acrylic paint, and I'm using a wet paintbrush to get bigger splatters because I wanted some of the stars to look more farther away and some to look like they were more forward or bigger planets or whatever. And I really like how that came out. For the card base, I'm using black cardstock, which I've folded, cut into the right size, and I am layering on a layer of red cardstock. This is just a piece from my scrap box, and I really like how adding that one extra layer of matting gives a card a nice finished look. I'm just using my ATG gun to put down the different layers. The card front, I will tell you, is still a little bit damp, so my fingers get a little inked up, but that's okay. Now for the sentiment, I just used my computer. I printed the sentiment out. It says, "Love you, bots and bots." And I picked a free font online that had kind of a robotic font quality. And you see there, I'm not even measuring. I'm using my fingernail to measure off where I wanted to cut off the sentiment so that I could mat it on a little bit more of that red cardstock and have the same edged border and have the whole sentiment run across the whole width of the card. And I think that gives a nice clean look to this relatively clean and simple style card. I'm using some wet glue. This is art glitter glue, which is my favorite. And I'm just gluing down these couple of robots that are from the Raisin Boat stamp set, Robo Party. Raisin Boat is a company where you can rent stamp sets rather than buy them and decide if you want to buy them later. And this stamp set is so cute. I have a video that I shared a little while back where I made a different card with this stamp set. I colored these up with my Copic markers, and for the inside I thought I would add some extra little decoration, and I had these hearts that were kind of a gear looking heart die cut, and they were gifted to me by Barbara Alexander, and I'm just inking the edges of it because the white edge of the cardstock was showing on the forward side. So I'm just taking a brush tipped pen, a black pen, and inking the edges, and I decide I'm going to put those hearts behind these robots, these 2 additional robots for the inside of the card. And I think these came out really cute. The girl robot and the little doggy robot are not in the stamp set. They are a little bit different in the stamp set, and I changed them up using a Copic multi-liner marker and then coloring it out. Now for a finishing touch, I wanted to make sure there was some shine, and so I'm putting glossy accents on the eyes, the television screen of the robots, the noses and the eyes of the little dogs, and I do that on the images on the front of the card as well as on the inside. Now that's my whole card. I hope you are having a wonderful crafty day. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this process video, please give it a thumbs up. Bye!